Welcome back. Great to have you with us. The trial of the plant, as it's called, has made its way to the highest court in the land, the Constitutional Court. Today, several pro-legislation parties heard arguments by the state and legal representatives of the so-called Dagga Couple. A date for the verdict of today's hearing has yet to be set. Earlier this year, the Western Cape High Court passed a landmark ruling declaring the use and cultivation of marijuana in a private home legal. However, the constitutional policy still needs to be addressed. Well, joining us in studio is Myrtle, Clarke and Jules Stobbs, known as the Dagga Couple. Do you mind that reference, Jules?
Oh no, we're completely proud of it. we fight for it. Most people, our detractors, hate the word, but they've no idea why they hate the word Dagga.
Yeah.
They're too young to understand why they hate the word Dagga, so we stick to it. And it's cannabis couple sounds lame.
Yeah, I like Dagga Couple.
It's emotive. It
Yeah.
actually gets people, even in the Constitutional Court today, the word made people giggle nervously.
Yeah.
They don't know how to react to it. It's
Really?
all, yeah, no, it was, there was some joviality in the court today, and it's always at the expense of someone who uses cannabis, who
Yeah.
risks their liberty every day of their lives by doing so.
Yeah. Take us back. I think it was 2010, and you had a run-in with the law because of personal Dagga use, and that led to this long process to the Constitutional Court. How did it start?
Okay, so
And when did you know, this is a legal issue that we want to take up?
It started at 2 o'clock in the morning, one freezing cold winter's night, and we basically had three choices. This being South Africa, we could have organised to pay a bribe and make the whole thing go away with some money, or we could have just accepted our punishment. And then
This wasn't at your home then? Were you?
It was at our home, yes, it was at our home.
So
The
someone
police relayed at our
reported
home,
you?
yes.
Okay.
Because that's usually how it works with cannabis arrests. The police will say that they've been doing months of investigations, but it's actually just one snitch.
Yeah.
It's a whole snitch on your neighbour thing is completely
Okay.
how cannabis arrests work. So we decided to take the state to task. Even today in the Constitutional Court, it was a big issue. Where is the science on which the law is based when the law is made? And then the state said, well, it's not about science now, it's about the harms of cannabis. So it's very... So there is no science when the law was made. So we proceeded, and after 7 years, at the beginning of August this year, we were in the Pretoria High Court. We ran out of court days, so our case had to be postponed. But in the meantime, there was the Western Cape case, which we have intervened as individuals. And that's why we were in the Constitutional Court today.
Okay, so two similar cases now
Yes.
merging, going to the Constitutional Court because, so Jules, we have a ruling that it's legal, but that doesn't mean that things change because we have a constitution as well.
The ruling doesn't make it legal, the ruling made the law unconstitutional. That's two separate things. The judge in Cape Town said it is unconstitutional to bash down someone's door and arrest them for smoking weed on their couch. That's what the judge said. So now there's a period of this weird limbo where the laws have been struck down, but the Constitution has to ratify that decision. It has to go to the Constitution for the bench of 11 to say that judge was correct. And that's what we were doing there today.
And then does Parliament have to look at laws?
Unfortunately, then it goes to the legislators, and normally the Constitutional Court will give them 24 months in which to change the offensive law. So parts of the 1992 Drugs and Drug Trafficking Act have been found to be unconstitutional. So the Constitutional Court hopefully will rule in the favour of the legalisation of the plant, and then they will give the legislature 2 years in which to get their act together to make the laws constitutional.
What does the science say? Because the whole argument has been, is Dagga even as bad as alcohol, that we all drink all the time? And I do want to raise something because I hear it more and more frequently. I don't know if how much science there is behind it, but some doctors do say Dagga can perhaps bring up if you've got an underlying mental illness, and that's being heard more.
Yes, so that you've just put two polarized parts of the debate on the table there. So this came up, both of these things came up in the Constitutional Court today. Obviously the alcohol and tobacco versus cannabis debate came through very strongly, with one of the constitutional judges actually interrupting the state and saying, but so we all know that cannabis is not the gateway drug, and we all know that cannabis does not cause schizophrenia. That was coming from a constitutional judge. So yes, there is, if you have an underlying mental illness, it could bring it out, okay? Because that is what cannabis does. In order to realize your underlying mental illness, it needs to come out. And that's what cannabis does. So we, in our Pretoria case, we had a medical expert who unfortunately came all the way from San Francisco, had to sit in court for 5 days and then fly back because there wasn't time to hear his evidence. But this is a man who is an oncologist in San Francisco, and he prescribes cannabis for every single cancer patient that he sees. Might not be to people say it cures cancer, we never say that, but Dr. Abrams certainly knows that it helps. It helps. So there's the two sides.
Do you want the final word? You wanted to speak?
No, quite happy.
All right, in finality then, how do you feel now when you smoke Dagga on the couch? Do you feel like things...
That's her. She does more couch than I do. No, this is the couch. No, she's the couch queen.
Are you confident that you will win this? That the tide is turning in South Africa?
Yeah, no, we're completely...
No, it is. The tide's turning all around the world, and, you know, it's now a tired argument. There are only so many things that our opposition can say. They cannot come up with anything new. So yes, we're feeling very positive.
You know, one thing that the state has to do is to keep the status quo, is to prove to the judiciary that what they're doing and the way they are doing it is the optimum way. So they're trying to stop people using Dagga, they're trying to stop people from buying and selling Dagga, and they're trying to eradicate Dagga. Is putting people in prison working for them? No. Dagga is freely available, everybody's using it, everybody loves the stuff, the price is going down, it's abundant, so their methodology isn't working, and we are waiting for their definitive argument as to why they should keep the status quo, and it's just not coming anywhere.
All right, thank you so much for your time this evening. That was Myrtle, Clarke and Jules Stobbs, the so-called Dagga Couple, and they like that title.
That's a nice story.